You're watching Every Day's a Saturday, USCC veteran. Let's go, baby. And here's your host, Bryan. Well, that would help if I'd bring us on. What's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining Marie and I on another great episode of Coffee Talk. How are we doing this morning, Marie?
Hey, it is a high pay and low energy day. I did not sleep well. My husband had to get a triple surgery yesterday, double hernia and a lipoma
Ooh,
removal, and it was a very long day at the hospital and a long evening of recovery, and it was it's yeah. So I'm
it
exhausted.
sounds painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he in a lot of pain?
He is, luckily, the, anesthesia, didn't really wear off until the middle of the night, but, and he's able to, like, get up and walk around, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's definitely it's painful.
I
So, it's
imagine
just been long.
technology-wise, they're a lot better. It's not as invasive as it used to be, so I'm sure.
They used a robot for the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, like, some lady is in a little box with a robot controller, and then they have somebody next to the patient to just kind of, like, direct where the robot arms go in and make sure that it goes in okay, but then once it goes in there, it's a remote controlled robot that does the whole surgery.
Wild.
Yeah. Yep, we are living in sci-fi.
No kidding. I mean, that is crazy. I didn't know we were I didn't know we were that to that level yet, where we were legit letting technology basically do the work.
Yeah, well, it's not AI yet to actually, like, control it. It's remote
Well,
controlled right
yeah,
now, but one
yeah,
day.
that's next step, though. I mean, you know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? They're just literally inching us into that, getting us conditioned, getting us ready for that next level. And,
Yep.
also, they gotta make sure that the thing doesn't go, like, wacky while it's, performing and just decides that day, like, "Well, I'm gonna say screw these people." You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. That is wild. Okay, dang.
How are you
Um,
today?
I'm doing alright, you know what I mean? It's starting to cool down here in California. We're starting to get, away from the 90s. We were hitting those hundreds almost every day for a while there, and I live in the high desert, so it gets pretty damn hot here, and so, we're starting to get down to where it's starting to cool down and be a little bit more, where you can kinda go outside, but it was so damn hot for a while. I just it's you just get ready for that to be gone, after some point in time. At least I do. Um,
Yeah.
I think I'm a tropical dude, though, I'd like a nice smooth 73, 75. That's perfect for me, but when, getting the super hot or super cold, kinda miserable.
Yeah.
Uh, alright, well, before we get too far into this, let's go ahead and, brew up some coffee from Cash Coffee, and, we'll get right into it. Alright, alright. Well, you know how we do, if you guys wanna try out some new coffee, go try some Cash Coffee. That's CACHE Coffee. And, they are some amazing people out there in, Utah. They actually have this, safe program where, they allow you to bring your weapon in if you're maybe having really hard mental health moments, and, you don't feel comfortable with your weapon in your home. They'll take your weapon, store it in their safe, no questions asked, and when you're ready to come get it, it's available. I thought that was really cool. I don't think I've ever heard of any kind of program like that before, so I thought, "Wow, that is super, super awesome."
I think it's cool that you called it like a safe program because they have a safe and it keeps you safe. So that's kind of cool.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. I've never heard of a company doing that either, so that's pretty sweet.
Especially like a coffee shop, right? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like there's so much more than coffee. I really do feel that they try to get very involved with their community, and they're so much for their veterans and first responders. They even have some of their customers that have joined, and they kind of keep touch with them and allow them to do reels and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool.
that's
I don't see a
awesome.
lot of different mom and pop coffee stores kind of getting involved where they're bringing social media into it and really trying to open it up and show who they are too as people, not just owners.
Yeah.
So I can really appreciate that. Um, Today we're going to be remembering 9/11. Um, we're filming this a couple days before 9/11. You guys will see this pretty much about a week after 9/11, and we just thought it would be kind of appropriate because it definitely had a huge impact on my life and changed my trajectory. When I had joined the Marine Corps, it was peacetime. So, when 9/11 happened, everything changed while you were in, serving. Um, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get into it, there's a couple things we're going to have Marie start off with some amazing poems, but also wanted to talk a little bit about we had our first interview, and I thought it went really well with Tammy. She is an amazing human being, out there doing amazing things for the veteran community and her own community. And I absolutely could appreciate that. But that was really cool, huh?
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed having her. She is such an awesome person and just a go-getter, and she is involved in so many different layers. She is what I aspire to be if I had the energy to do it. You know what I mean?
Oh
So,
man, she's
yeah.
go get her. Like, well, let me start up another business. I already got like one or two going. Like, let's go ahead and do another one.
Yeah, she's got her own businesses, got a civilian contractor businesses. She does, works with the VFW and a couple of the other organizations. She has a nonprofit that does like a retreat, and then she works in the grassroots, trying to bring awareness to some of the political issues with regards to veterans. And so, if you haven't seen her show yet from last week, go see it. It was just fantastic. And then
Yeah,
we've
that's
got an
episode 23, guys. 23.
Yep, and then next week, in the next couple of weeks, we've got a couple other guests coming up. Next week, we have someone from, the Misfit Nation, that is coming on. So he's been on your show
Rich.
before, Rich, and, this time he's gonna talk about a little bit more in depth about what he is doing, in the veteran community as well. So it'll
He's got a
be
lot
an
of big
honor to
things
have
going
him.
on.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's
yep.
great. Yeah, yeah, it's exciting, right? I mean, and that reminds me, if anybody out there, you want to join Marie and I, and you want to talk about mental health, how you recovered, your journey, you want to heal out loud, come on in, and let's heal out loud all together. You just
And
shoot us an email. Every day is a Saturday, 365 at yahoo.com, and come in and heal out loud.
And even if you're not a veteran, if you are advocating for veterans or you are involved or you have stories of other people who are doing it, please join us as well. We'd love to have you as a guest and kind of just share what you are doing. Like if you work at the VA and you are involved in helping veterans, come talk to us. Whoever you are, if you are interested in helping to heal the veteran community, please join us. We would love to have you.
Yeah, we're super interested in healing out loud, right? And we want to normalize that. And we want everybody to be okay with healing out loud and not feeling like they're being judged or someone's holding something against them when they're trying to move on, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to drop the boundaries and let people feel comfortable again, and I mean not boundaries. We need boundaries, but your borders, we're starting to put up a lot of walls and closing ourselves out to other people that could possibly help us because we feel burnt by someone or we've been judged in the past because we sometimes it's hard to heal out loud, and there's sometimes people around you that can't accept your healing out loud.
Yes. And sometimes you have to walk away from those people. and it
Absolutely.
sucks. Family and
For you
friends,
to heal.
yes, I've had to put up boundaries, against family and friends, physical boundaries because I wasn't at the point to set up the emotional boundaries in here. I had to put up the physical boundaries like, "Hey, you don't agree with what I'm doing and that's okay, but I can't be around you right now because I have to do this for myself." And so then once I was able to kind of work through my stuff and then I set up the emotional boundaries where I don't take offense to what other people said, then I can go back into their life and be like, "Hey, I love you no matter what. If you don't agree with me, that's okay." But it's okay to set up the physical boundaries until you have those emotional boundaries. So please know if you are around people who can't handle you healing, that's okay. That's their choice. You don't have to condemn them, but you can set up boundaries until you're ready to be okay with that.
Absolutely. And like Marie said, you gotta sometimes set up boundaries. You gotta heal, right? And sometimes there's people around you for whatever reason that will prevent you from your healing, and they'll keep you stuck in your misery. And sometimes you don't even know that. You don't even really realize that, right? Because you're so bogged down with things in your own mind that
Mhm.
you can't even see that going on, right? But what you can start to feel it, right? And you can start to feel that when you go to someone and you say something and then you see the reaction's kind of a negative reaction to something you're saying, you feel as a positive. Those are kind of people that maybe you need to say, okay, I'm having a conversation with the wrong person. You know what I mean? I'm healing out loud to the wrong person.
Yep.
And sometimes we got to realize that. And that doesn't mean that everybody else around you can't heal out loud to. It just means that you cannot heal out loud to that individual and you need to go seek others, right?
And yet again, I will say this and I will scream this at the hilltop, right? It does not mean they are wrong for not being able to accept it. That is their journey. We cannot condemn others for where they are at. It
Absolutely.
is what it is. Radical acceptance, right? It is what it is. This person just can't handle it right now, and that's okay. It usually is because they have something else going on, and they're looking at a mirror within you, and it intimidates them. And that is a hard thing to say, but just because somebody is not in your corner right now does not mean that you have to condemn them. That is their journey. So, what you do is you just find people who align with your frequency, with where you're at right now. And either that person one day will align with your frequency or you won't have it affect you as much. And it's okay. And you'll find more people with your frequency.
Yep, absolutely. And it's important. Like I said, it's important to find the when you want to start healing and you want to start moving forward, it is very important to align yourself with the right people because some of the wrong people can prevent once again where you want to move to, where how you want to go. And and just like Marie said, we don't have to give them negativity or any kind of energy other than hey, it's time to move on. Don't give them the negative energy of like because you reacting to what they're doing is really creating negative energy in you, and it's also helping. It's also really doing their job. They're still working their job out on you subliminally, and you don't even
Yep.
know it. So I know we're getting all wrapped up on this stuff, but I mean,
Well, it's
that kind of
important. It's important. Like we just got an email and I'm going to cry. But we just got an email of somebody who listened to our stories as we're talking about it and it affected her, and she was just so grateful for hearing us heal out loud. And then in hearing us heal out loud, she's like, "Hey, I've got someone else who can come in and kind of share their story." So anyways, this stuff is so important, the fact that we're doing this, and it's really nice to know that it's making a difference. Like
That's
I
right.
know Brian, you've made a difference again, and I get all emotional, right? You've made a difference in my life, giving me this platform to be able to heal out loud and sharing your story and giving me the courage. So anyways, it's been beautiful. And
Damn,
then to
you
hear
always
from
get my ugh.
yeah, but then hearing from somebody else that what we're saying matters. So I love that we're doing this, and it makes me feel so good. So thank you again, for your healing out loud and for your encouraging me and giving us this platform. So yeah. So it's a good thing
It
to go off
it's
topic sometimes.
it's really a team deal here, though, right? Because you've taught me how to kinda heal out loud as well, right? Though, like, by just your story, and that's why I had a very heavy presence of, like, Marie and I need to do something with this. Your story touched me in such a way, and your ability to tell your story touched me in such a way that I thought, "This is important. Something out there put it in my being that this is important. This is important for somebody out there, right? This could really change someone else's trajectory without us even knowing it as well." Because people are struggling with healing out loud because they are scared to be judged. We live in a world of being judged, and I think the more that we can kind of say, "Hey, man, stop," we need to more or less start going after the ones that are judging and make them feel uncomfortable. We need to start making the people that want to tell their stories feel comfortable, and it's okay. It's okay, and you know what? There's no weakness in it. That's a stigma that we've put a label on something. As human beings, we decide to label something and stigmatize it. For what? For what? It does not make you a weaker human being because you want to heal. You want to deal with something that really affected you and has a negative income, I mean, a negative outcome of what you're projecting out to the rest of the world. Imagine if everybody's healed and we feel so much better. A lot more of this hating and being so negative towards everybody would start to go away and fall to the wayside. People would start opening up doors for each other again. Thank you. Have a great day. Giving each other, just passing by, hi and hello. We're losing ourselves as humans in so many ways. So I'll tell you what, from a Marine, from an Army veteran, we're here to tell you it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to heal out loud because at the end of the day, when you start to heal out loud, that's you dealing with something that you haven't dealt with in so long. And sometimes to get rid of that, you have to put it out there and let the rest of the energy take care of it. But release it from you. Release that energy that's bottled up in here, bottled up in here. Release it. Give your family and friends the best version of you. Find that motherfucker that was there before you joined, pushed you through boot camp, pushed you through hard training, got you through a combat zone. Find that fucking person again. Whatever it takes. We're here to say it's okay. Come on this show. Come heal out with us. If you don't feel comfortable, shoot us an email. We'll tell your story. But get it off your
Yes.
gosh damn
Yes.
chest. Get it out. Let it
That would
go.
that is an awesome, awesome idea. If you can't share your story out loud, share it in an email and we will read it and we will share your story for you. That is an awesome idea. I like that.
100%. I'm adamant about changing the trajectory of where life is taking us. Get your ass out of these freaking the darkness and start bringing your ass into the light. I need you to my left. I need you to my right. I need you in my front. I need you in my rear. We all need to go to this together. So, hey, you don't got to boil a freaking ocean. Start off with baby little ponds and just start figuring things out by little. You don't got to go solve the world today, but go solve something today. One thing. If that's you don't make your bed or you got clutter in your house or something, go fucking handle that. That's something you can do and you can control. And it will immediately have an impact on you, believe it or not. Give yourself a reason. You don't feel like you have a reason? Give yourself a reason. Your fucking bed's not made. Go make it. Your cupboards are cluttered. Your cabinets are cluttered. You got clothes everywhere. Go declutter it. Start working these little things out, because imagine if you're all cluttered in your own home and everything else, your life's probably a little bit of cluttered up too. But I tell you, when you start to put things in places and you start to organize everything, it's so much easier to find things. And you're not in such a a hustle and a bustle to go look for things. That goes even with your mental health.
Yep.
And I can assure you, because I've been there too. I'm not the cleanest guy or whatever, but I do notice when I get cluttered, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, things are really hard to find right now. I'm a little more stressed out because sometimes when you're on a flight, you need to find something. It's like, oh gosh, and then you're making more of a mess to find the one item. So now your clutter is now a hurricane clutter. You know what I mean? Because you're just everywhere trying to look for something. But as soon as you realize, I can't live like this no more. I hate this clutter. My gosh, damn it. I'm tired of not finding my stuff. Well, this got a place now. This got a place now. This got a place now. And whenever I'm done with it, it goes right back to this place again, because I'll find it again, right? Decluttering yourself in just your general life can really start to help you find a little bit of clarity in the rest of your world. You
There
know,
is
so
a there is a book, and I can't remember who it is, but I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe he's a military guy, an ex-military guy, but the book is Make Your Damn Bed. And it talks about how if you are struggling and you're having a hard time, just start with making your bed.
you
Just
can
that
do
one
that.
thing.
You can
Yes.
control that, right? That's something literally, it doesn't cost money. It
Mhm.
doesn't, this takes maybe 3 to 4 minutes of your time, depending on how you make your bed.
Yep.
But when we were in the military, if you left your rack undone, hell to pay.
Everything else went undone.
That's why a lot of us had blankets and slept on top of our racks that were already made, and then we folded up our blankets, made sure
Yep.
that it was still all nice and made. But nevertheless, these kind of little things are easy. Cluttering, say you don't even gotta you say your whole house is full of clutter. Don't go do the whole damn house. Go find a fucking little corner and get that corner made up nicely. Boom. You'll keep looking at that corner. You'll keep going back and saying, "Damn, that's nice." It gives you a little bit of sense of pride too, because you did that. You made that, and now you're like, "I like that." It looks
I
nice. It's easy to find. I mean, I'm just giving you my relation and what I've done in my life, because I do get cluttered sometimes, or but what I've done in
I
my life.
do, doom piles as oh,
Oh, you're breaking up there a little bit. Up there.
yeah, we
Good.
had a little bit
Okay,
of
there you go.
a
Yeah,
miscommunication.
I think it was like a lag. We're having the
Yeah.
technical. I think technology's on strike today, as we said. They're
Oh,
like, we're
yeah.
gonna mess with these humans today.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I was saying, I do doom piles. If I don't have the energy to clean something, I do doom piles. So like I'll grab different containers and I'll put things in the containers that belong together, like cousins or sisters, right? Is what they're called. And so you put them together, where they belong together. Even if you don't have the energy to put it away, you have it in a container and you put the container to the side. And so at least like your counter is cleared off, but you've got it in containers. So it's
I
organized
like that.
chaos is what I call
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
so what I
And then
do. usually what I do is I will decide, all right, I'm going to tackle this area. Well, I will attack that area, but I will end up removing it, like I'll remove everything from that area and it'll end up being in other areas. Sometimes you'll find a place in a home, but then like it just finds another clutter area, but I made sure that that's done. That is cleared out. It don't have that no more. And then eventually it makes me want to go do the next area because I'm like, gosh, dang it, man. I'll just kind of just
Well,
move.
it's organized chaos is what you're
Yeah.
doing, and that's
Right.
that's my thing is the doom piles, and your thing is move it from here to here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's organized chaos, it just kind of you slowly but surely go through it, and then at some point, you finally clear out a little piece by little piece, and then it's you're eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah. And, a big part of being able to accomplish things in life is removing excuses that we make for ourselves. You know, I think
Yep.
that we tend to make a lot of excuses as to why we can't do something. A lot of times, like, I'm just, I gotta do this. I'm just too tired. And then you go find something else that's like, you're doing it, you're still up. You didn't go to sleep, you just didn't. In reality, you didn't want to really do that. You just found a reason in your head to basically give yourself, it's okay not to do that today, you know? But I tell you, once you start giving, I've done it myself, even with working out and stuff. Like, I really don't feel like doing this today, or maybe if I do, I won't do this today. I'll kind of cut this out. I'm not really screwing anybody but my own self. You know what I mean? I'm giving myself reasons to not do something, and it's only hurting me at the end of the day. It's not really doing anything. So I started to get into a level of like you have to kind of talk to your own little head in there that when that excuse comes on, you're like, no, this it's almost like you talking to your kid when your kid wants to, we always we don't accept certain things from our kids or even like our coworkers or our spouses. Like when they give us an excuse, you're like, oh, that's just an excuse, But in our own minds, we'll give ourselves excuses all the time, but we hold others accountable, I think a little differently. But that's why, it's important for yourself to kind of hold yourself accountable, take out the excuses. There's legit issues that you got. Maybe if you have some kind of disabilities, there's we get it. There is certain things that do limit people from doing stuff. That's not you. That's not who we're talking to. It's more of the person that can do it, but they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Or they find a reason not to do it. And I think that we as humans, we always find a way to limit ourselves, and we always keep ourselves kind of in a box. We're afraid to live outside that box. We're afraid to kind of explore or do this because we've been so conditioned to kind of live in a box or to live, this way or that way. So a lot of us live in fear every day to be the absolute best of our own selves. We're actually scared to do it.
So I was just thinking, using that same kind of concept going into the mental health stuff, kind of like this all goes in circles, right? But it all
Sure.
applies.
No.
Everything
Yep.
applies. But I was just thinking, okay, if you have multiple layers, complex PTSD, right? You've got multiple layers of your PTSD and your trauma. Like for me, it was childhood and then the sexual abuse and rape and then military trauma and then the addictions, right? I could not do it all at once. If I tried to do it all at once, that was when I was miserable, because I just ran and hid, right? So we go into, okay, what corner of your mind can you focus on today? We kind of do that same thing, okay, so I've got all of this stuff cluttered. For me, it was, okay, so this I know is from childhood. This I know is from military. So I was making doom piles, right? In my brain. This response is from this. This response is from this. This response is from this. And so then I had to take the little bites at a time of each piece. So, like, at first it was, okay, I have to get rid of the addictions. And then it was my childhood trauma. And then it was the sexual stuff. And then it was the military stuff. And then it was all of my physical stuff. And so, like, I have had to do little bits at a time. And then sometimes things get cluttered and get messy. And so then I have to take it little bits again. So, anyway, so I was just thinking that that same analogy works if it's the physical stuff and the physical actions are what is it? Physical actions are like a mirror of internal stuff. So if we can take those little moments to get corners of our house clean, it also helps us to know that I can organize different things in my brain and start focusing on little things a bit at a time. And so it's that whole idea, like we said a couple weeks ago, eating multiple elephants one bite at a time.
Now, how many people do you know that they tell you, I'm busy, I'm busy. Like they're just always like these people are always busy, right? And they also tend to be a little bit chaotic, right?
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of drama. There's just like a lot of luggage on there. You could always tell when someone is just so all over the place, right? Now that's the hard part because that person right there is not dealing with stuff, right? They just keep taking on more and more and keeping themselves. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with this. And that's kind of like how it sometimes turns into when it comes to your home and things like that. I don't want to deal with that fucking corner. It looks like a nightmare, right? It's such a clutter. I don't even know where to start. You go through all those things through your head, but that's why I say, don't go try to do everything all at once and exhaust yourself to the level that you feel so depleted because you put so much into that ocean or into whatever it may be. Allow yourself to get used to that new change that you finally took care of. Allow yourself to adjust to that because as you start to get rid of some of these things, it's going to change your outlook. It's going to change your mindset. And then it might also start helping you knock out some more of these things faster, right? Because now as you start getting rid of one out of two, out of three, now, dude, now you're on a roll and now you're starting to get with it. And then after that, right, when new stuff comes in, it's easier to process it and get it out instead of letting it just sit there and like fill your head up and like, your hat's falling off because you just got so much drama going on in your head, you know?
So yeah, so I just had a conversation with a friend yesterday, right? About that idea of the only way to move forward is to know where your feet are. Okay. That idea of the radical acceptance, so you make these little changes or you don't make the little changes, whatever it is, the only way to be able to move forward is to recognize where you're at without condemnation. And that is where the radical acceptance comes in, right? Is you have to be able to evaluate where you're at every step of the way. It's the only way that you're going to be able to move forward. Is if you are condemning yourself for where you're at, then you're holding on a chain that's going to drown you, right? But you have to recognize where you're at without the condemnation and then have the sincere desire to be better. And that's the thing. And one of the recovery books that I read, right, it talks about the definition of humility. It's a clear understanding of who and what we really are, followed by a sincere desire to become what we could be. And so that is the thing is as we're making these changes at even little tiny, tiny bits at a time, you have to stop and evaluate where you are without the condemnation in order to be able to move forward. Radical acceptance with a desire to move forward. And if you don't have the desire to move forward yet, then you pray for the willingness to be willing. And that is the huge, 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 huge thing. Like I said, it's a sincere desire to become what you could be. So willingness to be willing. I know that there is a place that I want to be. I'm looking through this window and I have this picture and at some point I'll see if I can find it. But when I first got sober, I knew that there was a lot of things that I wanted to do and wanted to be, but I couldn't access it because I knew I wanted to get there, but I didn't really have the willingness because I knew it would take a lot of energy and I couldn't get there. I couldn't get out the window, but I drew this picture and I work with oil pastels sometimes, and so I've done some art that way. But it was this wall that was all gray, and the wall was peeling back black, like peeling back. And it was like a black outline and it was peeling back. And then you look out the wall and there is this colorful, like beautiful nature scene out there. I knew that that's where I wanted to be, but I was stuck with this little peeled visual because I didn't have the energy to continue pulling through. But I knew that it was out there. And so that thing was is I had to get into that point where I didn't condemn myself where I was. I just said, "Okay, I am at this place right now. I can't get there and I don't have the energy to do it. So I can be willing to be willing, but the only way that I can actually move forward is without condemning where I'm at right now."
And something I will caution people as they are starting to deal with things, and you start to bring clarity to yourself, because it will start to things will become clearer. Your mindset will change. I mean, you will start to notice things that you maybe never noticed before. And when I'm saying that, it may be with some of your friends, your family members. They may be subconsciously have done things to you or that you just don't even realize because you've been in a state of healing or you're just really struggling. So you're not as clear minded, and you may start to realize that you have friendships that are not good. You may realize that there's family members in there that have been really kind of hindering you from healing, and do you have to be done with them? No, but you do have to set boundaries with those people. And you're going to have to learn that ability to start setting boundaries for yourself. Some of us don't know how to do that. And we let everybody just all run right through and come on through. You know what I mean? But sometimes some people you need to set up certain boundaries with. And don't feel like you can't do that. It is okay to set boundaries. Healthy boundaries are okay. I've learned that in my 40s. It took a long time to learn that I'm allowed to have boundaries too. And it's okay to set boundaries, and why I shouldn't feel bad about me protecting myself either. Because once you start to heal, you do got to protect yourself. You got to start protecting that. You don't want someone to mess up your healing process. Okay, because you start to feel good, and then when you feel that negative energy is coming in, trying to pull you back down to where you were, it's the struggle. And then that's when you have to start realizing, oh, I feel that when I talk to this person. And then you have to say, this is going to be hard for me, but I need to set up a healthy boundary with this person. So this does not keep happening and I can go heal. And once you become completely, or I don't know if we ever completely heal, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I will say is that as you start to get more to your peak and you're starting to learn how to heal as things come in and you can process it and get it out instead of it be there and linger and grow into some kind of crazy conscious thing. When you can start to learn how to kind of process that, like it's just you can it doesn't matter who's in your life at this point because you have now the ability and all the arsenal to fight off anybody that's coming in to fuck your shit up. Sorry for the language, but that's just really, I mean, at this rate in time, when you become healed, you'll feel someone when they throw a rock and it will ding right off of you. You ain't glass no more. You got a little bit of some steel behind your ass. And now when people throw rocks, it's ding, 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 instead of it cracking through or breaking your glass. And like I said, you shouldn't feel bad about that. And if anybody feels any kind of way about you wanting to do better for yourself, negative energy, misery, maybe they need some help. Maybe you need to maybe at the end of the day, that's your cue that person is struggling. And maybe
So I
that's your cue to do help them through their healing process. And now maybe you can help your best friend not be a deterrent to you, but also someone who can you guys can be powerful together and heal together.
So I was just thinking based on what you're saying, it's a perfect segue into this poem. So
Perfect. Yes.
we're
Yes.
talking about this healing and stuff like that, and talking about, trying not to let other people affect us and this, that, and the other. And like it seems like we went off topic, but it kind of works good because it leads into this poem that I wrote, right? So as Brian was saying, we're a couple days away from 9/11. Okay. Now, 9/11, I was in 8th grade when it happened. Okay. And when I walked into my classroom, it was my social studies class. And I walked into my classroom and everything was just silent. Okay. Everything was silent. I didn't know what was going on. I walk in there and I sit down, and we had Channel 1 News is what it was called. Okay. And I look up and I look at the news, and that's when I see the second plane go and hit the building. I did not understand any of what happened, but I knew it was big, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and my desk mate had to sit and hold me, and I didn't know how to handle it, but I knew it was something big, right? So, over the years, I was still kind of too young to understand what was going on, but when I got into high school and got into a creative writing class, and I found some of my old poetry from my high school days. And so this poem that I'm going to read you, it's called What Did I Do? And it was that idea that I was like so confused as what happened, why this group of people hated us so badly, and there's so many people that took it super personally and was filled with anger and resentment and frustration. And so, some people use that as an excuse to lash out. Some people, were able to say, hey, these are some sick people, and I don't have to be angry, but I'm going to fight. And other people are like, hey, this isn't my fight. So everybody reacted differently with it, but I was so young and I didn't quite understand, and so I was just more confused. And so and this was before I had even fathomed joining the military. I never thought I was going to join the military. And so it wasn't even in my mindset. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm trying to process through. I have all of these huge things going on in my life. I'm dealing with the like I'm not dealing. I've already started with my drugs and alcohol. I hadn't really processed through all the stuff from my childhood, and then I had just been raped. And so I had all
Mm.
of these things happening in my life that were very, very poignant for me in my life, but people were still so affected by what had happened in 9/11. And I didn't really understand it because I'm like, okay, you guys are looking at all this big stuff, but I don't really understand it because look at all these heavy things in my life, but I also didn't wanna see what was going on in my life, and so, that was I was drinking and drugging. So anyways, this poem that I wrote was just like my confusion as to what was going on and why this war was even still going on. And I just didn't understand, these people, who came and did 9/11. I'm like, "Why do they care about us? Like, don't they have their own traumas, their own problems, their own life going on? So why did they attack us?" And so this is the thing, like, they didn't know how to have boundaries. They were angry at us for other things, and so that's kind of like what we were talking about of being able to let go of anger, but these guys couldn't let go of anger, and they were pissed off at a whole world or at a whole country for stuff I don't know. And so
Enough
so
to give their
anyways,
own life for it.
yes. And so that's what this kind of poem is. And then I'll read this to you, and then we could go on from there. But it's called What Did I Do? So I'm just a teenager and I'm writing about this cuz I'm like, what did I do? Like why is this a thing?
I guess,
So I kind of
before you get into it real quick, I guess that's something I guess I didn't even take in consideration is how that probably impacted our youth.
yeah.
Because I'm already a young adult, so I'm not even thinking at that level of like, "Oh, I wonder how this affected kids in high school."
Yeah. Well,
Kids in school.
there were so
'Cause
many of us that were just like, we don't know what is going on and we don't understand why it's going on. Cause that's the thing too, is like back in the early 2000s, it was still a time where a lot of people just didn't talk about things. Like they did talk about it, but not really, so like it was kids were kind of left to fend for themselves, in some of this. But, in watching the news and watching how other people were reacting and watching the pain in other people's faces, even though I didn't understand it, that's where this poem came from. And so, yeah, what did I do? They t and none of this really has to do with me personally, but was me watching other people's stories.
you're gonna be solo.
Okay. So what did I do? What did I do? They took away my sister, my brother. What did I do? They took away my daddy, my mother. I didn't know them, but they took away my friend. I never met them, but they took away my grandparents. I never met them, but they took away my aunt. I never heard of them, but they took away my uncle. I never heard of them, but they took away my neighbor. What did I do? They took away my life. What did I do that they would cause so much strife? I didn't know them, but they thought they knew me. I didn't know them, but they hated I was free. I never met them, so why did they care? I never met them, but yet they were there. I never heard of them, but I wish I would have. I never heard of them, but I wish they could hear from me now. What did I do? So, yeah, I was just confused. Like, I didn't know what was going on, and I'm like, "Why do you care so much about me? I have all of this other hell going on in my oh, I'm gonna get emotional. But I had all this other hell going on in my life, so why did you hate me?" And I think part of this as well was me processing through my childhood stuff too. It's like, "Okay, why did I deserve to go through this?" And so there was a lot of just misunderstanding, and I'm like, I don't understand. I see these people, these children who lost parents and grandparents and friends, and it's like I didn't understand it. I didn't understand war. And so that was something that just really stuck with me throughout, my whole life. And then when I got deployed myself, I was thinking the same thing when I was there. I'm like, I don't know any of these people, but they're murdering us and they're killing people and then and we're going and fighting, and I'm like, I still didn't know what was going on, but I was just there doing my duty, and I was just so confused. And that was one of the things that all of the people that I was with, we were all just kind of like, well, we're just here. We don't really know all the politics of what's going on. We don't know it all. And so it was just 9/11 was just that beginning of, I don't know what's going on, but hey, this is happening. And so now what can I do to help? And I didn't join the military. But like for me, it wasn't about, revenge for 9/11. It wasn't about anything that had to do with the other side. It was just I knew that I wasn't okay and I needed something different in my life. I needed purpose. I needed some sort of experience. So even when I deployed, it still didn't make sense to me, 9/11 and everything else that was going on.
It's really bizarre to put it in perspective. And there's probably people out there that are gonna disagree, but isn't it the wildest thing in the world? They take young men and women from the United States of America, ship us all out to someone else's homeland to go fight people we never met in our entire life. And they never met us in their entire life. Some of them have kids and babies. Some of us have kids and babies. We're at the end of the day fighting over something that these upper people have some kind of issue with. You know what I mean? We're there to handle their issues, and we don't even know what the fuck we're doing. Like we're just told to go kill the enemy. Who's the enemy? Them. Okay. What did he do? What did he do? What did she do? Ain't no one tell you nothing. They can't tell you nothing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, think about it. If someone came to the U.S., some other country decided I'm gonna come to the U.S. and we're gonna fuck your shit up. How are you gonna take that as a family? You gonna want to kill those people that are coming to your homeland to take your house? You don't even know why they're there. They don't know why we're there. We don't know why we're there. At the end of the day, politics is not clear. Politics is
Yes.
opinions.
Well, and then so many people, are in the backfire with that. Like look how many innocent people were killed on 9/11, and
Yep.
look how many innocent people get hurt, in the wars. Like I've
Or
talked about
revenge.
before. I've
We
I've
re-
I've talked yeah,
Revenge
but
is big in the human race.
yeah,
Oh, they
but like
bombed Israel. We're going to destroy Gaza to the point that who cares if there's kids, whatever. They're going to grow up. Boom. You know what I mean? We're just blowing everything up to smithereens because they attacked us first. Now we got to get them last.
yeah. But yeah, it's so hard to understand. Like when I was in Iraq, I talked about this before, but that 12-year-old boy who ended up getting hurt. And it's like he didn't do anything. So, but he took a 50 cal to the flippin' thigh.
It,
with all of these innocent people, and that's the hard thing about war. And 9/11 was my first experience of like seeing casualties, and like there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. If you're pissed off at somebody, go take it out on that person, or find peace and find love and find hope. But why are you taking it out on other people? Why do innocent people have to get hurt?
so I was probably around the same age as you were, maybe a little earlier, a little younger, when Desert Storm popped off. So and at that age, we don't know nothing either, right? We just know those are the bad guys, and you, you know, everything has been so politicized. We veterans, we're politicized. We are we're one of the topics when it comes to politics. Veterans, we fall under that umbrella of politics, and we get mixed up with the politics. Yet when we go in there to fight for the country, we're not fighting for Republicans. We're not fighting for liberals. We're not fighting for conservatives. We're not fighting for this. We're not fighting. We're fighting for the men and women of this country. But then when we go out to be veterans, we're politicized, and then it becomes politics, and then it turns. Even our brothers and sisters get mixed up into it. They when we were young, we did not have no thoughts. At least I didn't. I wasn't even really all keen into the whole Republican Democrat like thing. I knew that I wanted to serve my country, and that was that. I didn't go in there because I'm going for this side or I'm going for that side. I'm going in there because I want to, defend my country from whatever bad guys happen. I don't know. I didn't expect to be sent off to anybody anywhere. When I joined, it was the year 2000. I graduated in 1999. And so I joined the year 2000, peacetime. Right then, 2001, 9/11 happened, and that altered the way things were. I'm a 20-year-old now, about this time in my life, young adult. Um, I'm I'm still at my first duty station. I think I'm barely like a year in to being in the fleet at this moment in time. And I had to go in to do an eye appointment that day. And while I was at the Naval Hospital, I was sitting there waiting to get called. And they have the news on and they have TVs going on. And I see the news footage of the building is smoking. The first plane has already hit. And I'm thinking, they're talking about how a plane flew into the building and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, damn, that is really bizarre that someone would just fly into a building. These buildings are huge and tall, like for a plane to be that low, and how they miss all these other, high rises. There's just a lot going through my head, and I'm thinking, man, that sounds more like a terrorist because I grew up in the time when there was like plane hijackings. I don't know if anybody remembers those in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of hijacking of planes and things like that. So it wasn't really too uncommon to hear about a plane hijacking, even though it is kind of weird that it would just slam itself into a building, right? What really threw me off is when I'm watching it, and then the second plane comes and freaking hits the building. Oh no, no way! This is on purpose now. There's just no way. I'm thinking, what the frick? Like, I'm thinking the FAA, like, are they giving these guys back court? What the? How does this? And then as it goes on, they're talking about there's a plane that's being hijacked that and then another plane hit into the Pentagon, right? So now it's like, oh shit, we are under attack.
Mhm.
So they closed down base at this point in time. As I'm going, at the Naval Hospital through my appointment, I see the second plane hit, and then my name gets called. So I go back and do my appointment. After my appointment, they send me back, and when I left, life was normal. Everybody was doing their jobs, everything was different. When I go back, no one's there except the sergeant. He comes up, Sergeant Starkey, says, "Hey, dude, Roof, you need to go to your barracks. We're going to be doing a junk on the bunk, which is basically all your gear. You put it out, and there's a certain way you lay it out on your bunk, and they want to make sure that you have all your gear." And I'm thinking, they're like, "We need to make sure everybody's good to go because we might be deploying." Oh my gosh. I'm thinking, what the frick? Things just really got real for me there because now I'm like, what? Like, we're going to go to war? What? Like, I didn't join and think I was going to ever go to war, right? So they make it too, like, call your family, and let them know you're okay, but you're not going to be able to see them for a little bit because things are going to be different. And I'm like, okay, jeez. And they completely closed the base down to where they wouldn't let anybody off, and anybody coming on was 100% inspected. Like, they had
Mhm.
dogs, they got everybody out of their car, they pulled everything out. They had multiple people looking under. I mean, we went. I think it was. I think Alpha is the highest you go in terms of threat level. So we're at the highest threat level on base. Up until then, life was just normal, man. Like, to get on base, you just flash we all have stickers on our car, and then we just flash our IDs. That was, and then you get waved in. If you're an officer, you get, but most of the time it was just waving everybody in. After 9/11, holy shit. The line to get in, I mean, you didn't want to leave base because getting back on base was a nightmare because they changed it. It was 100% ID inspection. It was 100% car inspection. And if you didn't even have an ID to get on base, there was no visitors and all that stuff at that point in time. It totally stopped. I was also playing for the Marine Corps football team. And obviously they kinked that. That just changed. 9/11 kind of changed that because the mission really changed. We went from peacetime to now we're supporting the buildup. And we don't know that we're supporting the buildup, right? We always just told what to do. And I only know now because I look back at it and I can reflect and say, oh, no shit. They had us doing stuff way early in the game. But, at least in the Marine Corps, you don't get an explanation as to why you're doing something. It's just go get this done. It's not like, well, because guys, well, if we do this, we're gonna, they do not tell you, what you're gonna be doing. It's, hey, go do this, get it done. Yes, sir. And you don't ask questions. You just don't, you're like, what? You
Hurry up
do
and
ask.
wait.
You do,
Hurry up
yeah.
and
You
wait.
ask
You
this. Oh
you get
God.
done what you need to, and then you wait for further instructions. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Go, go, go. Get it done. Get it done. Don't ask why, just do it. Yep.
And I get it. We always there's a level of readiness that they always want us to be ready for anything and everything that comes down pike. So I get it. If I think in reality we started doing stuff 2 years prior because 9/11 happened 2001. Now, if everybody recalls, we did not go to war until March 2003. That is when war legit started and we declared war on somebody. So 2 years, we basically started the buildup. once that happened, I think they already always knew that we're probably going to end up seeking and finding these bad guys that have, intentions of not living within the whatever the Geneva Convention, whatever the rules are. You know what I mean? They're going outside NATO. I mean, all that stuff. So they send America to go over there, and you know, it, once again, I'm sure everybody has their feelings on why we were there. It's neither near nor there at this rate in time. We just had men and women get sent over there who thought they were doing the right thing for their country. Anybody that joins is under the assumption that they are doing the right thing and they are there to protect their country. What missions are handed out to you while you're in, that is not really up for you to decipher. There's someone way up above you making the calls, and all we do is go push the buttons or pull the triggers, or you know, um, we do the legwork, right? So don't, for people out there that maybe have a ill ill feelings towards war, any of the such, don't take it out on your veterans. Okay, these were young kids,
Doing what they felt was right.
not fully mentally developed, being put into positions that some people could never even fathom, and they had no clue what they're doing. They just wanted to do it because, for one, we are conditioned that we want to protect our own. We want to come home to our families, and so does everybody else. The enemy wants the same shit. They want to go home to their family. But for the men and women that go over there and give their lives up and give a huge commitment, I know some people out there don't support veterans because they don't support war. But I'm here to tell you that that's kind of not the right mentality to have for people that are trying to do better for themselves. I mean, a lot of people that go in with the intention of like, hey, I want to get schooling, or I want to do this. I mean, I went in with the intention of like, it's going to help me through, find a career, get to school, get me on the right path. I didn't go in saying, oh shit, we're going to war. I didn't even think that there's a possibility that I could go to war when I went in. That wasn't even even a mindset.
It's the same
Obviously,
here.
when you
I just
go in,
wanted to better myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going in so we can go fuck some shit up, because I mean it was peacetime, right? And there wasn't really talk of any kind of, at least I wasn't paying attention to politics or anything around that time frame either. And I imagine this is the other part that a lot of people got to understand. Most of the time that these young men and women that are joining have zero shits given about politics.
Mhm.
A lot of times they don't even, they're just going in. They don't even, most of them aren't signed up as conservative or liberal or this or that. They're
Most
going
of them
in.
don't vote. They've never voted, and they're just there. Yeah.
Yeah. a hundred
That was
percent.
me. I didn't vote until,
Yeah.
you know, just recently.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that that's the part is that people got to understand it. Don't take it out on the veterans. Don't, you know, bash them or something because you don't agree with their life choices and what they decided to do to better their life. It maybe not aligning with your beliefs or your morality, but they're still human beings and they wanted to do better for themselves. I don't think anybody goes in with intention like, I want to go just be a shitty person. And, I think everybody goes in with the intention is, I'm willing to fight for my country. I'm willing to die for my country. I'm willing to die for my countrymen and women, and so I think that a lot of people out there have a lot of disheartenment. Like I said, there's a lot of people that bash veterans or don't support veterans because you signed the line and you did, like all the things that happen, right? And I think that we got to scale back a little bit and get back to the humanity side, and let's help our veterans as they're trying to get themselves back into the life. You know, 9/11 changed my life completely, and it changed a lot of people who served trajectory. A lot of us joined, and we joined during a peacetime. There's a lot of men and women that joined because of 9/11. because they wanted to go in there and they wanted to go fight the fight. There is people out there just like that as well, but there also is people out there that just wanted to do something different, wanted to get out of their parents' homes. Maybe they wanted education or, just a different life. And it does give you that opportunity to get out of your home, break that cycle of like living off your parents and stuff like that.
So I was just thinking, so there's something that someone once told me, and I love it. I saw it on video or in recovery or something like that. But it's that idea of rejecting the rejecting the action and not the person. So like for me, I struggle, right? And this goes into like the mental health stuff. But I struggle if someone doesn't like what I'm doing, I think they hate me. Okay. Because that is a habit of some people. They say, you did something wrong, and therefore I am going to walk away from you completely. Okay. And so the one thing that I can say for people, if you don't like, and this goes with the military stuff, but with any of the stuff, right? Just because you don't approve of the action, you reject the action, it doesn't mean that you have to reject the person. And for yourself, if somebody's rejecting your action, it doesn't mean they're rejecting you. And so there's a distinguishment, and there is also, we go into what we were talking about before. You can reject the action without condemning the person. You don't have to condemn the person. You don't have to condone their actions, but you don't have to condemn the person. And so finding that balance between that, I think, is super important with regards to looking at our veterans and and we can do a whole nother episode at some point. I don't want to go into this, but I just want to bring it up. We can go into a whole episode about what happened with the Vietnam folks, where people were rejecting the veterans completely and entirely because they rejected the actions. And that always pissed me off. And I'm so very grateful. And I'll say this,
Especially because they were
I am
drafted.
Yes, but I am so very grateful that those Vietnam vets paved the way for us. They said,
Certainly.
"Screw that. This is not okay. So we are going to show love to our veterans and give them support." And they showed the way, even though they were rejected. They taught us that we don't have to be rejected for our actions. And I love that. They built where we're at right now. But yes, there are still people out there that are doing it. Like I said, at some point, I would love to do a memorial episode about our Vietnam vets and just thank them for everything that they went through and for holding on through their hell to pave our way. I've got some really amazing friends who are Vietnam vets that said that they were not okay with the way they were treated, and they said no more. And they set up some amazing nonprofit organizations or just love and compassion for us so that we don't have to deal with that. So anyways, we can go with, like I said, that's a whole, like, probably 5 episodes talking about that stuff.
Right.
But just my point is, just because you reject an action doesn't mean that you have to reject the full person. So let's be kinder to our veterans, because there are people, that just don't understand, and they just want to condemn the whole, everyone as a whole. So anyways, yeah.
No, and that's a good point. And that's 100% amazing point. And um that's something we got to get away from, right? And you honestly, Marie, you're just talking like a healed human being though, right? Like cuz 99.8% of the population out there is not thinking like that, right? Then we don't have compassion for the other side. If we just don't like them, fuck them. You know what I mean? We don't have compassion for that other side. We're getting really, really bad with it, you know, over politics, over a flag. That's you have a flag or something, and someone hates your flag, like, boom. The next thing you know, you're a piece of trash. You're wraith or whatever. All the things that come with it, and that's just sad to me that we are really tearing our humanity down, and we're starting to look like we're all evil people, and that's sad, man, because we're not. We we were all, not all of us, but a lot of us were born to into love, right? You know, you were created out of love. Some of us weren't. Maybe you, you know what I mean? But I mean, the intention of creation of a human being is out of love, right? And we're not really, we don't start off as babies just angered and hating life. That's something we end up being taught.
Well, what's really fun, I love how this works, right? Because our conversations meld into, we talk about some of the pain, and then we go into the healing and this, that, and the other. And it actually goes into my other poem that I want to read.
Perfect. And that's a
I
great
don't
closer.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
was just thinking, because so we're talking about, how a lot of 9/11 and the reaction to 9/11 was a lot of frustration and anger and stuff like that. So what happened to cause 9/11 was other people holding on to pain and taking it out on a society. And then how we have reacted to the other side, some of it is the same way, or some of it is just confusion. And then we also have people who are not understanding that, hey, we're kind of doing our job, but there's so much of just reactions. And so this next poem is another one I wrote based on 9/11 as well. And it's kind of like a call to action on how to overcome some of the trauma responses. And so it kind of goes with what you were just saying.
Perfect.
And so this one, I don't have a title for it. It's just called Untitled. So, all men must lose their bonds of hate so they may see the bigger picture. The eye of the mighty beholder looks upon them, not with apathy, but yearning to show his love to them who offend for fear of pain, to the fools that scoff because of their envy. He wants these warmongers to see through his perspective that their hands are unsteady if they try to flourish alone. But with his optimistic help, they will become nimble, and humanity will be uncivilized no more. We must not show decadence or blasphemy to the one who nurtures us all. We must show to him our undying gratitude and glorify his name forever. So the point of this was like saying like, hey, like these people, even though they did these shitty things, God still loves them. There is still hope for them. They have an opportunity to find love and healing, and us too, in our worst stages. We have this opportunity to heal. I have done some shitty things in my frustrations, in my angers, in my addictions. I used people, I hurt people, in certain ways. But God didn't give up on me. And even these people, who performed 9/11, and these people who are just shitty, or the people that we think are shitty, or that people think that veterans are shitty for doing what they're doing, right? God is still saying, with all of with everything, right? Is that, hey, you still have value. You still have love. Let's let go. And there's another poem that I wrote that I read before, but it's the war I refuse to fight, right? Like I am done being like this. And that's what you were saying before. If we could all get to a point of healing our man, I'm emotional, but if we can all get through the point of finding peace with our demons, then we can move forward. But the thing is we are so stuck on trauma responses. And that brings me to one last thing that I wanted to bring up. This week is the anniversary of two of my really good friends committing suicide back in 2020. One of them was my roommate in Iraq.
So they were
And
struggling through the COVID time, it sounds like.
yes, and then one of them is my friend, so that was Chong, and then one of them's my friend Jeff, who I met in sobriety, who really, really helped me and pulled me under his wing and helped me work out in my early sobriety. He changed my addiction, from the alcohol and the drugs into working out, and it was fantastic. But anyways, so this week, I think this is one of the reasons why I'm just super emotional this week, right? Is I'm so very grateful for the healing that I've been able to find. I've been able to let go of my resentments. I've been able to let go of my frustrations. And I don't have to see suicide as an option anymore. and I don't have to be angry or frustrated. But, my friends that killed themselves, they were stuck in pain, and I don't know all of their demons that they had, but they couldn't see a way out. And so we've got people that they either hurt other people, which is what happened with 9/11, or people judging the veterans and condemning, right? Or we get people that beat themselves up so much and they can't find the peace. So I am just so grateful that for some reason, I have been able to find this peace and been able to see that God doesn't want me to suffer. And so as deep or as hard as you as deep as you are in your pain, as much as you condemn yourself, you do not have to be alone in this. You do not have to be lost in this condemnation. You don't have to hurt other people. You don't have to hurt yourself. You can find peace. And that's why we are doing this. We are doing this to show that you are not alone. Let go of the pain, let go of the anger, and do it one little corner at a time in your heart and in your life. You know, you don't have to be alone. So I'm just super grateful, again that we're doing this, and grateful that other people have shown me a way to let go of the pain and frustration. Because yes, we need to lose our bonds of hate so we may see the bigger picture. Lose the bonds of hate for ourselves and for others. Let's let go of the trauma responses and move forward and heal.
Absolutely. It's gonna be critical to the future of humanity. If we all are just broken souls walking around, we are going to be a lost world. And we got to find being grounded again, getting grounded again. We've taken ourselves away from being grounded, and we're all just out there flying around. You know what I mean? We do got to get grounded again, right? And sometimes that just might even just get rid of your technology for like 15, 20 minutes and just go outside and go walk on your grass or walk on some dirt without some shoes, but just find a way to get yourself grounded again. You know, if we continue to walk around and we don't heal ourselves, we're going to keep handing that down onto the next generation. We're going to keep handing generational trauma down to the next generation for them to handle. Let's take the fucking brunt of it for this next generation and start saying, "Hey, let's do better. Let's give these kids and these young adults a chance to not be such broken souls and realize it's okay. Let's start healing. Allow yourself to heal through each time you have a problem. Don't just keep carrying it on and not dealing with it. And then eventually when you get into your 40s, you want to deal with it. And then it's like so many relationships are done. So many things have happened that didn't need to happen. It's a lot of wasted time. So sometimes we got to remove our pride and realize I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to have that. I don't want to be a part of the statistics. So let's just continue to be there for each other, guys. It's important, especially in our own community of veterans. Learn how to build each other up instead of breaking each other down all the time. Okay, because that happens a lot too. We're not cheering on each other. We need each other. If there's no one freaking else around us that need each other, we need to be with each other. Okay, and we can be in a good example as a community for the rest of the world. They watch us go off and fight for this country, and they hear amazing things of what great stories and all this heroic things that we do. That shit don't just have to happen on foreign land. That can happen here in our own lands. All right. So let's do better. Let's help each other out. Let's pick each other up. Let's be okay to not be okay. Let's heal out loud with each other. And let's all finish the finish line together. If I'm here, you motherfuckers got to be here too, right? Okay. No one said this is easy, man. But
I had
son
this
of a
I
bitch, don't take out the easy road and leave here before me. Okay.
I had this weird picture that came into my brain at some point, and it was like all of humanity that we're in this baton race. Sometimes we are the runners,
Yeah.
but sometimes we are the baton. And I know that's weird, right? Okay, but sometimes we're the runner and we're dragging or handing the baton on to the next person so they can keep going. But that and like the weird picture was that it was it
Morphing
was
into
it was
the
it was
runner.
well, that was the thing is it was this runner that had a baton, but the baton was actually a little person, and they were holding on to another little person and holding on to another little person, and it was like nesting dolls. So
I
so
bet you
the
could go make that in AI.
yeah, but somebody was passing on the person to the next person, but as they're doing it, they're handing on the next person and they're handing yeah, and it was just the weirdest like loop that went
Analogy.
through. Yeah.
That's
But that's
great.
the thing is like sometimes we need other people to help us move forward and then sometimes we help other people move forward. But we're
That's
all
right.
going the same direction.
Yep. And if you've gone through some crazy journey, share it, guys, because holding it in ain't gonna help anybody else. You know what I mean? Talking about it can possibly just literally resonate with someone. There's a lot of things that Marie says that I'm like, "Bing!" It just clarity. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of times that happens when we just allow ourselves to talk and
Yep.
and not feel afraid to be, ourselves and talking. I think that's the thing is we get a little stuck in our heads and worry about what someone's gonna say and how we talk or how we tell our stories, but we got to get away from that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We went a little bit longer than I think we wanted to, but this was a great show, and I
Yes.
think our intent was to kind of do it a little bit about 9/11, which we did. So we just kind of got there a little bit later, but the conversation was amazing, great conversation, and this is kind of how it's going to be, with Marie and I. We just there's times you're going to get our stories because we still got to finish up our stories. We're taking a little time to get to the finish.
Yeah.
But as things come up, like today, just like really, as I was getting ready to go push play or record, I was like, man, it's 9/11. Let's talk about that. And then obviously this conversation started off 30 minutes into something different, but it literally got us to where we needed to be, you know? And
Because
so
it's
that's
all
kind of the cool thing.
connected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really
It's all
is.
connected. Yeah.
It really is. And so, we appreciate everybody out there. If you guys can like the show, share it out. That doesn't cost a thing. If you have Spotify, Apple, all those things, go add us. That way you guys can check out the show. And we're going to keep this going. We're going to bring on some amazing guests who are also going to heal out loud. You're going to get to hear their stories and their trials and tribulations. And yeah, just stick with us, stay with us, and you might be able to walk away feeling a little bit better. We're not doctors by no means. We're not psychologists. We don't have any. I don't. At least I don't got no certifications or anything like that. I just have lived this life. I'm just talking as a freaking person. As I'm still going through it, right? And
We're
so
all just sick mofos being there for the next sick mofo.
yeah, and I'm okay to be transparent with it. If you want to laugh at me, you want to, make fun of me, whatever. I'm okay with it at this light. I've got to the level of I just want to heal out loud. I want others to feel comfortable with healing out loud. And if you want to laugh or you want to make fun of, then you must got that perfect life. And if anybody got that perfect life out there, let me know. How the hell you doing? How did you get there, you son of a bee? All right, Marie. Well, is there any last things you want to say real quick before we go? There we go.
I'm just thankful for being here and thankful that you're here. So I'm just yeah, awesome.
As long as we get her smiling by the end of the show, you know what I mean? Like, she starts off like, no low energy today. And then by the end, man, we just like pumped her ass up with some energy and look
Well,
at her.
this
She's
stuff gives
glowing.
me energy. Yes, this stuff
Yeah.
gives me energy. Being able to share hope and love and even though I cry,
Oh, she's
it's
buzzed
just
out.
it
Oh,
is
there you go.
just a beautiful thing to be able to find that peace in the pain. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it just means so much to be able to find peace in the pain. And so I really am like this is energizing to me to be able to be there for the next person.
Absolutely. And thank you once again. Thank you for healing out loud with me and us sharing our stories. And once again, we'll be bringing on some amazing guests. And like we say, don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it, guys. And we'll see you guys on the next show. We'll see y'all.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.